Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. And look, we're going to skip the usual warm-up because, frankly, I am absolutely furious. We're diving straight into this festering swamp.
Yeah, no kidding. It's Mike.
And I'm Sam. And the political madness, the absolute goddamn shit show coming out of the Trump administration this week. It's unbelievable. We've got reports, transcripts,
Focusing specifically on President Trump's interactions.
dealings with Canada. And well, it's something.
Something. It's an imperialistic fantasy.
Yeah.
He actually floated the idea. I mean, can you believe this?
Yeah.
That Canada should become the 51st state.
Yes, yeah. The sources detail this suggestion, apparently made during official talks. Not a joke.
Can you believe this asshole?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously? Our neighbor, Canada. And thank God Prime Minister Carney apparently didn't just roll over.
No, not at all. According to the reports, after Trump made that public never say never comment about, annexing Canada.
Which is insane in itself.
Right. Carney, in the Oval Office meeting, apparently responded very clearly, never, 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 just like that. Good for him. Showing some goddamn spine. It's almost a novelty these days when dealing with this administration.
And he reportedly tried to connect with Trump on his own terms, saying something like, there are some places that are never for sale.
Oh, the irony, talking to Mr. Art of the Deal, the guy with multiple bankruptcies, about things not being for sale. Like, he understands intrinsic value.
Well, it highlights that fundamental clash, doesn't it? The idea that some things, like, national sovereignty, aren't just commodities to be traded.
Exactly. And then there's this other quote from Carney supposedly saying Trump has revitalized international security.
Yeah, that one's interesting. On the surface, it sounds positive, maybe even complimentary.
But how? Revitalized? He set alliances on fire and pushed them off a cliff. How is that revitalizing anything? Unless you mean revitalizing chaos.
Well, some analysis suggests it was maybe diplomatic language, trying to smooth things over in a very tense situation, especially with those tariffs hanging over them.
Ugh, the tariffs. Let's not forget the 25% tariff slapped on Canadian goods. It's a fucking shakedown, plain and simple.
And those tariffs hurt. They hurt businesses on both sides of the border. They hurt American consumers paying higher prices. It's not just some abstract policy.
Right. And Carney apparently reported Trump was willing to discuss lowering the tariffs. Gee, thanks. After you impose them for no good reason.
It sets up a dynamic where relief from the pressure you created is presented as some kind of concession.
And then the kicker. Trump apparently offers Canada a massive tax cut and better health care if they just give up their country.
The comparison some sources are drawing is to tactics used by abusers, offering supposed gifts in exchange for control.
It's coercive, and it's part of a bigger picture, isn't it? This isn't just about Canada. We're seeing reports about a broader attack, an unconstitutional rampage against federal institutions right here at home.
That's right. The sources we've seen point to potential targeting of all sorts of groups and programs: nurses, scientists, teachers, food stamps, Social Security, the list goes on.
No one is safe. It feels like a scorched earth campaign against the very fabric of government oversight and social support. An orgy of corruption and greed.
And getting back to that Oval Office meeting, it sounds like quite the spectacle. Carney's trying to maintain decorum.
Yeah, meanwhile, Trump's apparently rambling about how Canada is a very special place because his mother had relatives there or something.
and get this, apparently offering an artistic critique of the U.S.-Canada border.
Yeah.
Saying it's not aesthetically pleasing enough for him.
Artistic critique. As a reason to potentially absorb another country, it's not just delusional, it's dangerously delusional. Can you imagine?
And then come the benefits. He offers them free military.
Free military. We already have NORAD. We have decades of close military cooperation. What is he even talking about?
It shows a real lack of understanding of the existing relationship. And then the promise of tremendous medical care.
Tremendous medical care. Compared to Canada's universal healthcare system, the one they seem pretty happy with, while our system is, well, let's just say it has issues.
It's offering something they likely don't want or need, based on a flawed premise.
So Carney says never, firm rejection. And Trump's response, time will tell, it's only time. But I say never.
That phrasing, time will tell. It's dismissive of Canada's explicit refusal. It implies their sovereignty is just, temporary, or subject to his will.
It's the language of a dictator, not a democratic leader. And when he doesn't get his way, what does he do?
Predictably, the reports say he resorted to insults, attacking Carney's predecessor, attacking Chrystia Freeland, calling them terrible person, terrible negotiator.
Why? Because they defended Canada. Because they wouldn't roll over. Unbelievable.
It's a pattern. And it extends to the USMCA trade deal, too. Trump hails it as perfect, but Carney himself apparently said some things about it are going to have to change.
Suggesting it's not quite the settled masterpiece Trump claims. And you can bet any changes Trump agrees to will be spun as his brilliant idea later.
Well, speaking of spin, let's talk about the trade numbers Trump reportedly used in that meeting.
Oh God, this part. He actually claimed, we don't do much business with Canada. We're at like 4%.
4%. Now, you look at the actual data, easily available. CNN had it in their transcript report. U.S. exports to Canada in 2024 were nearly $350 billion.
Which is what percentage of total U.S. exports?
About 17%. 17%, not 4%.
So it's just a fucking lie. It's complete bullshit. How can you even have a conversation based on numbers that are just pulled out of thin air?
It demonstrates either a profound ignorance of basic economic facts or a deliberate attempt to mislead. Probably both.
And his other economic ideas. Make our own cars. Complaining about Canadian cars and steel, claiming this tremendous deficit with Canada.
Which, again, the data often doesn't support in the way he frames it. It's a constant stream of unsupported assertions.
Like the claim that Trudeau supposedly told him a 25% tariff on Canadian cars would mean the end of Canada.
Where does he get this stuff?
Or the idea the U.S. is subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year. There's just no factual basis provided for these massive claims in the reports we've seen. And you have to picture Prime Minister Carney sitting there, listening to all this. The report said he looked visibly unhappy, pained even.
Yeah, the contrast described is stark. A leader trying to engage seriously versus that.
Paula Newton over at CNN summed it up, didn't she? That despite the meeting, the two countries remain very far apart.
Seems like an understatement based on these accounts. The whole approach seems designed to alienate, not collaborate.
And remember, Carney got elected partly because Canadians wanted someone to stand up to this. They gave him a mandate. Back off.
It shows the Canadian public isn't buying it either. They value their sovereignty.
Okay, so while all this Canada drama is unfolding, Trump also drops this claim that the Houthi rebels in Yemen have capitulated.
Right,
Yeah.
Which requires a huge grain of salt, doesn't it? Given the complexity of the situation in Yemen, the difficulties the U.S. campaign has faced.
And his track record. Remember mission accomplished. Remember COVID being under control. Premature declarations are kind of his thing.
Exactly. We need to see actual evidence. Understand the terms. What does capitulated even mean in this context? Especially since he also hinted another big Middle East deal is coming soon.
Oh, another deal. Like the others that brought lasting peace. The cynicism is just unavoidable at this point.
And then, after weeks, months of threats and tariffs against Canada, he says solving the border issue, it takes two to tango.
You think? After you've spent all this time trying to bully and dictate terms, the nerve.
It really underscores the damage this does, not just to the relationship with Canada, but to America's reputation globally. Who wants to tango with a partner like that?
A volatile, ill-informed goddamn clown. It makes the U.S. look unreliable, unpredictable.
And as we touched on, there are parallels to what's reportedly happening domestically. The same kind of disregard for norms, for institutions.
The unconstitutional rampage isn't just happening at the border, it's happening within our own government structures, according to these sources.
And that phrase, time will tell, used about annexing Canada. It really does sound like the language of despots, doesn't it? A belief that power overrides everything, even national identity.
It's an assault on democratic principles, both here and abroad, driven by this authoritarian desire, this hunger for control.
But one source did offer a counterpoint, a reminder. There will be a reckoning. The people did not vote for this.
And that's why we do this deep dive. It's critical to cut through the noise, the bullshit, the orgy of corruption, and see what's actually being reported. Independent media, informed citizens, that's the check.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the sources, the claims, the context, so you can make your own informed judgments.
So if you value this kind of analysis, if you want to stay plugged into what's really going on beneath the surface, do us a favor.
Yeah, please like this video, share it so others can see it, subscribe to the Deep Dive Report Show, and definitely click that notification bell.
Because we'll keep digging, keep reporting, keep calling out this insanity. We'll catch you in the next Breaking News Deep Dive.